middle Himalayas. That is this boundary, which was between the Tibetan Plateau and the Greater Himalayas. We call this boundary as an Indo-Sangpo Suture Zone. So what is the name of a boundary which lies between the Greater Himalayas and the Middle Himalayas? You remember the Greater or the Middle Himalayas are separated from the Greater Himalayas. These are separated from Greater Himalayas. Greater Himalayas by main central thrust, by a boundary which is known as a main central thrust. How to remember these names? Let me finish the entire Himalayas. I will tell you how to, some of the shortcuts and some of the exam questions which come from here. So Indo-Sangpo Suture Zone, you remember because Tibet and Greater Himalayas ke paas se the Indus River and the Sangpo River flows, that is the Brahmaputra River flows, so it is known as an Indo-Sangpo Suture Zone. After that, remember, central part mein there was a thrust and therefore this is a main central thrust. After that, this was known as a main boundary fault and Himalayan frontal fault. That I will do it later on. Now, how are these? These are hogback in appearance. These are hogback in appearance. As I told you, any Himalayas will be hogback in appearance. Second, the next point is the southern slopes are steeper while the northern slopes are gentler. Now, what is more important from your exam point of view about the Himalayan ranges, about the middle Himalayas is the middle Himalayas are known by different names. So, they are known by different names. For example, in the Jammu Kashmir region or in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, these are known as a Pir Panjal ranges. In the state of Himachal, these are known as Dhauladhar ranges. In the state of Himachal, these are known as a Dhauladhar ranges. While in the state of Uttarakhand, these are known as Mussoorie ranges. Mussoorie and Nag Tibba ranges are known as an Mussoorie and Nag Tibba ranges. Mussoorie and the Nag Tibba ranges. They are known as Mussoorie and Nag Tibba mountains. So obviously this region, because they are to the south and because they are near the tropics, यहाँ पे the conditions are less hostile for human settlement and therefore large amount of human settlement can be found in the middle Himalayas. Great Himalayas may or in the trans Himalayas which are to the north of this great Himalayas, you won't find human settlement because the conditions are very harsh and therefore human settlement is sparse. But in this region, the human settlement is there and therefore we will have beautiful hill stations in this region. Generally your dream destination, generally your destinations inside in India lies in the great Himalayas. What I mean by that? I mean that Jammu Kashmir, which lies between the Zaskar ranges of the great Himalayas and the Pir Panjal ranges of the middle Himalayas. The beautiful valley of Jammu and Kashmir, the beautiful valley of Kashmir, that is Srinagar, the beautiful valley of Kashmir. Jammu is not, Jammu is to the south. The beautiful valley of Kashmir lies between this Pir Panjal and the Zaskar ranges. So we have the Srinagar is lying between the Pir Panjal and the Zaskar ranges. And why beautiful? Because obviously that area is beautiful. You must be knowing the statement that if there is heaven on the earth, it is here. So the Kashmir lies between the Pir Panjal and the Zaskar ranges. In the Dhauladhar ranges, you have many hill stations such as Shimla, such as Dalhousie, and the important hill station of Dharamshala. And lastly, in the Mussoorie ranges, I should not tell you what lies in the Mussoorie ranges. Your dream destination in terms of career, that is Lal Bahadur Shastri Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, that is your training center for Indian administrative services, which I wish that each and every of you should go there as an officer for training. That is the training center for IAS lies here. Labasna lies in the Mussoorie ranges. So this is all why we are here, why we are here to teach you, to help you to succeed, and you are here to obviously to learn and work very hard to go to this. So remember your Labasna itself, that itself should be motivating. Labasna lies in the beautiful middle Himalayas. So this is about the middle Himalaya. Now what about the Jammu Kashmir? The Jammu lies to the south, while this is where the Kashmir Valley is. The Kashmir Valley lies between the Zaskar and the Pir Panjal ranges. Now, before the formation of Pir Panjal ranges, what was there when there was a first collision? There was a formation of the Great Himalayas. There were many rivers which were originating from the Great Himalayas and draining downwards. Now, when the Pir Panjal ranges formed, that is when the second range is formed, obviously this river got interrupted. Why they got interrupted? Because the Pir Panjal ranges rose up. And because the Pir Panjal ranges rose up, I will use the red pen here to show you that the Pir Panjal ranges rose up, the rivers here got interrupted, their flow was resisted, their flow was broken. And as a result, the temporary lakes were formed in this region. That means the river water got accumulated in this region. This also was an age of Pleistocene ice age. It happened in the Pleistocene period. Now the Pleistocene period is important. Why? Because it is known as an ice age. So your animation movie, Ice Age Part 1, Ice Age Part 2, it talks that entire earth was covered by ice. So it occurred during which period? It occurred during the Pleistocene period, that is, it was in the Pleistocene Ice Age. Obviously, in the Pleistocene Ice Age, the river got converted into glaciers. And glaciers have high amount of erosion power. You know that we have done in the geomorphology lectures that glaciers have high amount of erosion power. We also know that when the speed of a river or the glacier is decreased, they start depositing. If the speed of a glacier or the river is increased, they will engage in erosion. As a result, what is happening here? Due to the formation of the Pir Panjal ranges, the speed of a glacier and the speed of a rivers here got decreased, and therefore they deposited. What did they deposit? Therefore, in this region there are fluvio, that means rivers, glacial deposits, or we can say sediments, generally rich in clay. Rich in clay. Why? Because the rivers which were originating from the Great Himalayas, they got obstructed by the Pir Panjal ranges. I am showing here how they got obstructed. But we also know in geomorphology that the rivers engage in erosion, and therefore over the period of time, obviously this rivers eroded and created deep valleys in the mountains. So they eroded the Pir Panjal ranges and continued its journey forward. But obviously it took some time for the erosion to happen. It does not happen like this, Pir Panjal came up and on that same day the river has eroded. No, it took some time. And therefore there were large amount of fluvio-glacial deposits or sediments which were generally rich in clay. After the river drained away, what remained on the ground is this fluvio-glacial sediments. This fluvio-glacial sediments in the Kashmir region are locally known as karevas. This fluvio-glacial sediments are known as karevas. So what are karevas? Karevas are fluvio-glacial deposit caused due to the interruption of a river. And whenever the river is interrupting, there is a decrease. The river forms what? Lakes, temporary lake. What is the difference between river and lake? River is flowing, lake is stationary. So obviously they formed temporary lakes and they deposited large amount of sediments. Now after the erosion, the river has drained away, but the sediments have remained. These sediments are known as karevas. What is the importance of karevas? Karevas is having highly fertile soil. So you see, Kashmir region as a whole is highly fertile. and therefore it was once upon a time highly rich region. Rich. Why? Because apples from Kashmir. Why? Because the one more variety from Kashmir that is very costly, and when I say Kashmir, the thing which should come in your mind is saffron. You get best quality saffron from Kashmir, and therefore this fertile soil is good. The Karewa has a fertile soil which is considered best for growing local variety of saffron. On this fertile soil, what is taken? A local variety of saffron or kesar. Saffron means kesar. Known as saffron is grown. Known as a saffron is grown. Is known as an saffron is grown. So what are these things you remember here in this? That is, the beautiful valley of Kashmir lies between the Zaskar and the Pir Panjal ranges. Now, some of your books may be saying Zaskar is a mountain of a great Himalayas. Some of your books may be saying Zaskar is a mountain of the Trans Himalayas. You as a student, don't worry. Remember, as of today, that Zaskar and Pir Panjal ke beach, it lies the valley of Kashmir. We will take it as a great Himalayas, because UPSC is never going to ask you whether Zaskar lies in the great or lies in the Trans Himalayas, because these questions do not have a definite answer, and so such questions will never come in UPSC. What will come? That Kashmir lies between which two mountains? Zaskar of the Great Himalayas and Pir Panjal of the Middle Himalayas. Then what is the next question? Through the valley of Kashmir, which river flows? We will do that in reverse again, but as of today, you remember, through the valley of Kashmir, Jhelum flows. Jhelum flows. Kashmir consists of which deposits? It consists of Karewa deposits. What are Karewa deposits? These are fluvio-glacial deposits. Why they were deposited? Because of the interruption caused into the rivers. Because of interruption. Because of interruption which was caused into the flow of the river. What is good about Karewa? The soil is very fertile. What is taken from that soil? Saffron, which is known as saffron in Kashmir, is taken here. It is also important for horticulture development. Now, obviously, Jammu lies in this region. Jammu lies in this region and Kashmir lies here. Beach mein there is a Pir Panjal. Obviously, there has to be some road which will connect Jammu to Kashmir, and this is what is in the Pir Panjal as Banihal Pass. Banihal Pass. The road connecting Jammu to Srinagar passes through this Banihal Pass. I will take that as a separate topic, but as of today, you remember this. Then next is the Dhauladar ranges. Dhauladar ranges lies in the state, mostly in the state of Himachal Pradesh, and river Ravi, river Chenab flows through the Dhauladar ranges, while river Jhelum flows through the Pir Panjal ranges. Yahan pe we have river Chenab and river Ravi. So we have river Chenab and river Ravi. But Dhauladar is important for the beautiful hill station of Shimla, Dalhousie and Dharamshala. Now, what is importance of a Dharamshala? Dharamshala, if you know, was the origin or of a contention between India and China, because the Tibetan government in exile, which does not recognize China as their master country, is in Dharamshala. So the Dalai Lama stays in the Dharamshala. It is a place where independent Tibetan government in exile is located. It is a place where the Tibetan government in exile and the place where Dalai Lama stays, the head of a Tibetan Buddhism. And what is important about the Mussoorie ranges? Again, as I am saying, your motivation, your dream destination, Labasna, is there in the Mussoorie ranges. So this is all about the Middle Himalayas. Remember, Pir Panjal in Jammu Kashmir. Between Pir Panjal and Zaskar, river Jhelum flows through the valley of Kashmir, which is made up of Karewa deposits. Then Dhauladhar mein some of the important hill stations are Shimla, Dalhousie, and Dharamshala, and Mussoorie Nag Tibba ranges. Obviously, this in the states of Uttarakhand. Mussoorie and the Nag Tibba ranges lie in the states of Uttarakhand. I am writing it as UK because they lie in the state of Uttarakhand, while the Pir Panjal ranges lie in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So there are different names to the middle Himalayas. We will continue with our Himalayas with the Shivalik ranges. Until the time we meet again, revise, read and study very hard. Thank you very much.